Hey, y'all, welcome to Musical Miles Podcast, where live music and great stories take center stage. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Teton Guitars. Whether you're picking tunes around a campfire or taking the stage at your favorite honky-tonk, Teton Guitars delivers rich, soulful sound built for the journey. Learn more at tetonguitars.com. Now let's dive into some music and memories. Lovers, welcome to Musical Miles Podcast. I'm your host, Byron Duffin, and I am here in my home office with Ben Larson. Ben is from Philipsburg, Montana.
Yes, sir.
And so to us kind of bring you up to speed with how Ben and I kind of got acquainted. We actually barely met 2 days ago in person.
Yeah.
But we had messaged back and forth on Facebook and Instagram and whatever. But we had been in Montana to the Songwriter Festival, either in Whitefish or Livingston, because they were back to back.
Yeah.
And for some reason, your profile popped up on my social media page, and so I friended you because I want to get to know all the musicians, and left it at that. And then Ben sent me a message because apparently you saw.
I saw that you'd come up, right? And the algorithm works in mysterious ways.
It does. And then you went and looked. You must have watched the podcast.
I did, yeah.
And then sent me a message and said, "Hey, I like what you're doing.
It's
cool.
Yeah.
And someday we ought to sit down." So.
Yeah, that's exactly, and I think we probably popped up because you were over there in Livingston, and you met Abigail Compst there,
right.
And she was scheduled to play a show in Peaburg, and the venue fell through, and I'm part of the arts fund there in Peaburg, and so her manager gave us a call, and we bailed it out, found a new venue, and she and I did a songwriters thing together,
cool.
And then the next day you liked me on Facebook, and I don't know what the algorithm gods were doing, but then I took a listen to some of the podcasts you just put out and was like, this guy seems like a cool guy. I should at least say hi.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you reaching out because it's always cool to meet the artist. And Abigail was such a cool girl. We met her in Livingston, and then she was also in Whitefish.
Yep.
So she did both of them.
Yep.
Because her folks live kind of up in that area.
Yeah, and her mom actually came down to Peaburg for the show.
Right, and I got to meet her in Livingston as well, and then Shanda got to meet him because Shanda wasn't with me in Livingston.
Yeah.
Which I had some technical issues there because I didn't have a producer. I was on my own. But it's really cool because we've connected with Mike Booth, who is over the Rocky Mountain Songwriter festivals.
Yep.
So which is Cody, Red Lodge, and Livingston.
Yeah. Used to be Whitefish, but moved it to Livingston.
now they were connected with Whitefish. Whitefish has their own deals.
Yeah.
Big Sky Troubadours, which is Carrie sorry, Carrie, I'm going to screw up your name. Klepper.
Yeah.
Really nice lady, and Mike's been really good. But they've really, really been good to work with for us for the podcast, and they seem to like us because they've invited us to come back for 25.
That's good.
So that was a new experience. The songwriter experience was new for us because we've been to lots and lots of festivals from Mile Zero Fest in Key West. To the Jackalope Festival in Pendleton to.
You put on Miles
Country Jam. Well, that's why we named it
Musical Miles,
right? Because we have traveled the miles.
Well, country music spans the country,
and not just country music, but music in general, right? We love live music. We've been to Andrea Bocelli concerts. We've been to Foreigner. We've been to Marshall Tucker Band. We've been
wide range of tastes,
and we have a very eclectic taste in music. But we're really live music junkies, right?
Yeah.
So, but the Songwriter Festival deal is really cool. And so to hear, I didn't realize that you and Abigail had worked together. So, sweet girl, very, very talented. Loved her story. We have posted that when we've done all of the artists from the Livingston Songwriter Festival. We're now working on releasing the Big Sky Troubadour downtown and the Round. So we released Bryce Long 2 weeks ago. This past Friday, we released Marla Cannon Goodman.
Yep.
Next week is going to be, I think, Miller Campbell, and then we're going to do Joe Smith. We interviewed a couple others up there, and you might know Riley Riley Mix.
I don't know.
Cute girl, talented songwriter. We interviewed her in the Remington bar, and it was just really loud. So we have done some interviews in some sketchy places. Not that Remington's sketchy. It's just the background noise,
volume. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't know kids were allowed in bars in Montana till 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, yeah.
There were 4 young boys in there.
Yeah, they were in there playing pool.
And they have disrupted many a show.
Yeah. Oh, I guarantee you. And so anyway, it was really frustrating for us, but anyway, it's a cool deal. And then we actually were in Elko, Nevada.
Yeah.
But let me back up. So about a month before that, or 2 or 3 weeks before, you sent me an email and said, "Hey, I'm coming through.
Yeah.
Can you recommend any venues in the Idaho Falls area that I could reach out to see about playing?"
Yeah.
We have some local venues, and you and I need to work on that a little bit better for this next summer. But there's a couple that are very good, but they usually only have music 1 or 2 nights a week.
Yeah,
and
there's only so many Fridays in a week.
Exactly. And they schedule things out pretty good. But the one that I'm thinking of is which one? My producer's back here talking to me.
The Rock and Russet.
Oh, the Rock and Russet's right here in Shelley. We got to talk to those guys.
All right.
But also, oh my gosh, Jen.
The Zone.
The Zone. Gosh, I don't know why I can't. The Zone, and I think I recommended that one to you. And I don't know if
that was on the text message, I think. Yeah.
So I need to get you Jen's contact info because our friend Heath Clark, who our very first guy,
is his stickers on that guitar case there.
He's playing here Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
This Wednesday. So, oh my gosh. This is what I do. I knock stuff off.
It's a little rodeo in here.
It is. Pardon me for a second. Huh? Okay.
All
right. So
crisis averted.
Yeah, and we're pretty raw and gritty, so we probably won't edit that out.
Oh no, go for it. It's
you know what was funny?
it's real.
So we were interviewing Thursday. Dave Stamey's our very first interview. Get through the interview. It was a great interview. And we get to the end. Just so you know, I spent the last 12 years full-time working in the potato industry. I grew up on a potato farm. I always tell everybody I'm an Idaho farm boy that wanted to be a cowboy, right? So, and I spent 13 years in the cowboy rope business, and I've rodeoed and trained horses, done all that stuff. But
Before that, you were in potato.
Yeah, before that, I was in the potato deal. But the long and the short of it, we're closing out that deal, and I always say, tell them where we're coming from. Hey, I'm your host, for Musical Miles podcast, blah, blah, blah. And here we are. We're at the National Potato Council, is what I said, instead of the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering. And Stamey looks at me, and Shannon's over there going, "What?"
Hey, that's like last night. Or Jesse Veter goes, "Good to see you all in Elko, Montana." On the big stage. I caught that. A few people caught it around me. I thought that was pretty funny. We all misspeak.
Oh yeah.
even our favorites.
Well, some of the big stars I noticed. I've seen some of the deals. They actually write the name of the town on the steps as they step up onto the stage, so that they can remember where that. Because you think about it, I mean,
my drummer always does that as a joke. Every night when he says goodnight, he says the wrong town.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every night. I'll be like, "Good night, Big Sky," and he'll be like, "Good night, Bozeman." Right?
Oh, yeah. Well, now we've kind of got all that out of the way.
Yeah.
Ben, tell us. Well, first of all, the other thing that was interesting is that your moniker is Old Man Ben.
Oh, yeah.
And so, oh yeah,
that's my John Cougar Mellencamp, I think. That goes back quite a few years to. I've always been a little bit of a old fart in a young person's body, just like in the style of music I listen to. I kind of have a reputation for being grouchy, and liking old things. I was the last one in my social group to get a smartphone, which just a year ago.
Oh my goodness!
And I just kind of dressed like old people all my friends outside of college were all old. Like I'm going to say old in quotes because when you're in your early 20s and whatnot, old is 35. But,
right.
But just, yeah, no matter where I've been in Alaska and Australia, all over the world, where I've been working and traveling, I kind of gravitate to the old people. And
sure.
Those were my people. And so my close friends of my age started calling it kind of became a joke of my personality.
But it's kind of
and I rolled with it a little bit.
Sure.
So
well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, so tell us a little bit because I read that in your bio on your Spotify channel that you have been all over the world. Where are you from? Where were you born and raised?
All right. So first 16 years of my life, I was in Vermont.
Okay.
That's where I grew up. But my parents homeschooled me for quite a while so that I could go. So we traveled all over the country and the world as a family, and so I got really into traveling. And my dad's thinking, oh, he's gonna go to a good college and get a good degree. And I'm like, you've been telling me stories. He was a dog musher in Alaska back in the 70s, and so I just wanted adventure. So I at the time Montana State was the cheapest state school in the country.
Okay.
And so I, on sight unseen, was like, I'm going there. Got out there and I immediately fell in love, and then started doing my summers up in Alaska.
Okay.
And that it was up in Alaska that I started really getting into the music thing, because all the old raft guides that I worked with, every night we'd boat, and then we'd come home and sit by the fire
and tell stories,
play music, and
cool.
these guys, Mikey K and Super Dave, and they'd be like, we'll play everything as long as it's bluegrass, but they taught me just how to pick songs and sing and whatnot. And then I came back to college, and all my friends are like, they see me with a guitar, and they're like, well, let's play guitar. And so I taught all my buddies how to play.
Sure.
And then I was like, all right, well, I get to keep the guitar. You guys all have to learn new instruments. And so we got every one of them switched to like, we had mandolin, banjo, and we formed a little college band.
Oh, wow.
And but then after college, everybody's getting jobs, and I'm like, screw that. And I gave away all my stuff, and I left my dog with my parents, and I bought a one-way ticket to Australia, and
wow.
And spent a year basically hitchhiking around Australia, New Zealand. Ended up in Mexico, Newfoundland, Spain, all over the place.
Wow.
And I would just carry my guitar with me, and I'd get jobs along the way, and just lived like a dirtbag for a while. But I met a lot of people, and guitar became my way of just communicating with everybody.
It's an incredible tool to start a conversation. You know, we were in Vegas doing the interviews for the podcast, and I packed a guitar around because we were getting autographs. We actually did. We gave it away. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Nice.
Teton spalted maple, and I wouldn't let them sign the front of them like these. They signed the back with a gold pin.
Oh, cool!
It was so pretty, and we got NFR contestants, and we got Yellowstone actors, and we got models, and we got NFL players, and we got it was such
just walking around with a gold Sharpie and a guitar and making friends.
Well, and the NFR guys were like, this is so cool. This might be the coolest thing I've ever autographed, you know?
Yeah.
And then we gave it away, and a kid, Roper Kistner, his brother's name is Roper and Ryder, and I've known him for a long time, but he luckily won it. I mean, it was not a fixed deal, but
heck yeah,
sent it out to him, and anyway, but I packed that guitar around with me all over Vegas, and people would stop me. They'd go, well, where are you going to play? And I said, I can play, but if I pull this guitar out and start playing, you're going to pay me to put it away. But it just opened a lot. And I'd say, look, we're here doing a podcast interview. And they'd go, well, what's your podcast? So then we garnered some new followers because of it.
Okay.
And I'm sure with you pack a guitar around and people go,
exactly.
Do you know how to play that? No, I just carry it around so it looks cool, because it does look cool.
Yeah, no, I did know how to play, and that made me a lot of friends everywhere I went, and it made a lot of stories. It made a lot of things happen.
Yeah. What a cool story, because I mean, what a life experience to have traveled the world and seen what you've seen, because you've mentioned places we've always wanted to go. Australia.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Spain. Yeah. Her sister and family, their whole family were all just in Australia, New Zealand, and then they went to Bora Bora. And,
the world's a fascinating place, and along the way, I just picked up all these different styles of music.
Oh,
right?
I'm sure.
And,
yeah. So it really contributed to your
exactly.
To
It's
your
I am
playing
eclectic
style.
all the way through. So but then eventually, I kind of got sick of the road. And I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go homestead, and this is a bit of a funny story. So I popped through Philipsburg in my travels, but I'm over in Spain, and I'm walking down a street in Barcelona, and I run across an old professor of mine from MSU.
Oh wow!
And it's a small world. And we have some drinks, and she's like, "Well, because I've always kind of used carpentry as my go along, right? Everywhere you go, people need something built,
right?
And so I got my guitar, and I got my tape measure, and she's like, "Well, somebody I know needs a house built in Peaburg," and I was like, "Well, that's an in for me," and puts me in touch. And when I fly back, I end up back in Peaburg, and the house falls through, but then I met my now wife the very first night I was there.
Oh, how cool is that?
And there were plenty of other construction jobs, so I'm just living like in dirtbag in a camper, no plumbing, middle of winter, and my now wife Sam is like, well, you can come use our laundry and shower and whatnot, and that works out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So,
well, that's a great story. Well, so your musical journey really started then in Alaska. I mean, you'd never really owned a guitar or really played much,
I'd had a guitar in high school and whatnot, and I played like in high school bands, but I really separate that time because I didn't really come into my own until I was in Alaska, right? Sure. I wasn't proficient, I didn't think, and I didn't start singing, which is really my love and joy is lyrics and singing, and that it was Alaska that really made that happen for me.
Yeah. Cool.
Being around older guys that encouraged me and taught me all these songs that my generation didn't at the time care about.
Right. Well, it's interesting because, as and I'd been to the gathering. Was this your first trip?
This was my first trip to Elko,
I'd been to the gathering 4 times, Shanda 3, but what I love about the Cowboy Gathering and the Western Folk Life Center is that they're really keeping the West alive through this program, right?
Yeah.
And they're encouraging there's young programs. Yesterday morning at our hotel, now we stayed in Wells, and we met a guy. I met a guy at breakfast, had 2 young men with him, and I was talking to the boys. I said, "You guys going to the gathering?" And they said, "Yeah." And anyway, come to find out, they're from Boys Ranch, Texas. Now, this is a town. I don't know if you're familiar with this still, but it's literally a boys' ranch. It's a 12,000 acre ranch, and they have 280 not permanent, but students that live, but they live there.
Okay.
They live there full time and go to school, and some of them have spent their whole lives there. But anyway, they have a cowboy poetry team.
Yeah.
Now, those kids came and they participated in the open mics.
Oh, nice.
Which is what you did while you were there. You did the open mics on poetry as well as
music. Yeah.
Which is really cool because anybody, even myself, and I did an open mic.
Nice.
Not really. I didn't do an open mic. I walked into the bookstore.
Oh yeah.
The gift shop, and that guy had guitars back in the corner. Did you walk back
those
there?
were pretty. I played a couple of those.
Beautiful. Well, so did I. But I played the cheapest one he had.
Yeah.
Which was $3,800.
I very gently.
Yeah. And I said, "Can I?" Because I said I don't play very good, but I'd really like to play. I'd like to hear this. And he goes, "They all sound the same, similar because of the bracing, and it's all real similar." But anyway, so I sat there and played. And which is really hard for me. I told you this is very intimidating to me. And here we are in a public place. But I looked around. There really nobody. Shanda was filming actually because we were doing some fan interviews.
Yeah.
And so I sat down and I played this thing. And I played Pinto Bennett's song "Idaho Cowboy," which I didn't sing. I just played that.
Okay.
And so then I handed the guy his guitar back, and we left. And we were getting ready to go into a show. And a guy by the name of Mike walks up to me. He's from Oklahoma, and he goes, "Hey, I just want you to know I really enjoyed your guitar playing." And I'm like, "Nice." are you serious? And he goes, oh yeah. And he said, and you had an audience. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Anyway, so
I loved how all over that place, everybody was supportive of all the other artists, no matter what their ability level was. There was always somebody listening. There was always somebody complimenting too.
Right.
Yeah. I just thought it was just a very everybody in that who goes to that seems to be there to support it. Right. Everybody's working together towards a goal of supporting music and poetry.
and having conversations with people, because there's never a place easier to talk to people. And because that's what I do. I talk to everybody. I've never met a stranger. And so this job for me is very easy.
Yeah.
To meet new people and have conversations. And so, but it's always fun to meet new people. And we met people from all over. We met people from California. We met people from Oklahoma and Texas, Nebraska, Colorado, California. Yeah, I said California, but
you can say it twice. There's that.
I can say there is that many people there. But the guy I was talking to one of the guys. He's volunteered there for 38 years. Him and his wife, and we were talking, and he goes, "You from right here, huh?" And I said, "No, we're from Idaho." And he goes, "Well, I knew you're not from California, because in California people don't talk to each other."
Or hold doors.
Yeah. How rude people are. Yeah,
it's just a cultural thing, I guess. I don't know.
And even here, and I learned this a long time ago. But when you meet a lady, you take your hat off, and when you introduce yourself, and that's very, very common in Elko as well. But it's a cool town and so full of history. And it makes me think. Now I've written really truly penned one poem in my life, because it was required when I was in high school. It was an English class, and so I wrote it, and I actually pulled it out this morning and looked at it. It's called The Rodeo Cowboy.
Nice.
And Shanda had it. She found it and framed it, and it's still got the teacher's marks on it. And I love that teacher, Mrs. Glory Ride. Was the sweetest lady, still alive, 102 years old, still alive.
Wow.
Still living home alone. Yeah,
that's cool.
She's just the sweetest. Anyway, but it's still got her marks on there, and she scratched out the words that were wrong in my improper English. But anyway,
I thought it was cool at the gathering there. You're bringing up the remembering your teachers.
Sure.
Do you know how many artists I saw at that on stage, like call out, like, the reason I'm doing this, like Wiley, Jesse Veter, they all were like, the reason I'm doing this is because I had a good teacher who encouraged me.
Right.
So my wife's a teacher, so I always shout that out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that is cool. Well, what would the world be like without good teachers?
I know.
Right? I mean, they inspire so many kids, and
clearly it worked for you. You became a rodeo cowboy.
Well,
I don't know if because of the poem, but
no, it wasn't the poem. I was actually rodeoing by that time anyway. But it was something that really interested me, and the music did as well. And we've always loved music. My very first live concert was at 12 years old.
Nice.
Three Dog Night. You remember Three Dog Night?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Shambhala.
there you go, Shambhala. But
never been to Spain. We used to play all those songs.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Yeah. So, but just anyway, and Elko's such a cool deal, and so maybe over the course of the next year I'll work on some poems. I was thinking stuff as I was driving yesterday. And it was snowing. We had some sketchy roads.
You guys. Yeah, it looked the sides of the roads looked messy.
It was pretty slushy and stuff in a spot or two. But you go over that one pass is over 6,000 feet, so there was some snow there. But once we dropped into Jackpot, it was clear sailing from there. But no, it just makes you think. Makes you think about the. I was thinking about the Wine Cup Gamble Ranch. I don't know if you noticed that when you drive by, you see the main gate to the Wine Cup, and been there forever. But a good friend of mine, his family leased part of that for years, and and wintered their cows there because it's pretty mild. But it just made me think of those poor buckaroos out there yesterday morning, out there saddling those cold-backed horses, and I can see the old-timers just doing it like no big deal.
I was glad to be at the convention center for cowboy poetry and not out cowboying.
Yeah. And I've never had to cowboy for a living, but I've been on a horse in some sketchy situations, and I've been on a Harley in some sketchy weather situations.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so let's talk about your music, because I spent the morning, because I never really got a chance to listen to your stuff, but I listened this morning, and you got some cool stuff. So,
all right.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about. So you did your first really EP was in 23, so it's only a couple years ago, right?
Yeah. The first one where I kind of went to a studio. I've been self-recording for a while, but I took kind of a lot of that down just because I didn't want kind of the old stuff that was just really poorly recorded to affect like when I'm applying for songwriter things and whatnot. I didn't want them pulling up stuff and being like, "This is good. It's not professional." Yeah.
Well, did you so you called it Old Man Ben? Yeah. 23, and there were 4 songs on that EP.
Yeah. And that one I actually made myself there.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that one was just in my living room, just me trying to learn how to do all the technical stuff. Just because I didn't have any money.
Right. Money's always a driving factor for no matter what you do, even for a podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, and that was right at the tail end of me building my own house, and so I was putting everything into shelter. And when I finished the house, then it was like, okay, because that was all my weekends there for 3 years.
Right.
And when I finished the house, that's when it was like, all right, it's pedal to the metal on music now.
Yeah.
I was like, I've always put this on the back burner. I had my new band, and things were kind of going my way, and I was like, I'm gonna ride this and see where this takes me.
Sure.
My wife goes, give it 5 good years and start there. And if it's still going, then we'll keep going. And
well, that's good. And you've got a supportive wife, as do I.
Very supportive wife.
As do I. And when we started the podcast, I told Shanda, I said, because I had some job offers. So my deal ended. It was a weird deal. So I found myself suddenly and unexpectedly retired. Company I was the brand president for, I walked into a meeting July 1st, and they said, we can no longer afford you. Oh. So they were in trouble financially, and they've since filed bankruptcy and sold, and that's a whole story. But we could do a month-long podcast on my screwed over jobs that I've had, and I've had some great jobs, and I've been and had a great career. But anyway, so what are we going to do? And we had some job offers, but I said, you know what? I kind of need to just realign, slow down and try something different. So we decided the podcast. So we're going to give it 6 months. And of course, we've had some really, really cool experiences in the last 6 months. We've done over 90 interviews, and you see the guitars.
I see all the signatures there.
We went over that and talked about that. And the one guitar I gave away had a lot of. We did 19 interviews in Vegas during the NFR, so it had 19 autographs that I don't have on these guitars from other artists. But anyway, it's been such a cool deal, and it's been very well received. We just have not figured out how to monetize it yet, and so it's a little bit like it's a little bit like music. I'm sure we got to have that one. And we don't know. Maybe it's Dave Stamey. Maybe
that's when I'm writing. I've convinced myself, because it used to be like, well, I could be out making money or whatever. It's like, no, you don't know if the song you're writing is going to make you $1 million. So you're not getting a paycheck today. But not only am I doing what I enjoy while I'm playing, but it's like, who knows what this leads to.
You don't, and this has been the interesting thing about the songwriter deal, that the last 2 episodes that we've done have been Bryce Long and Marla Cannon Goodman, both with number ones. Bryce, I don't know. I wanted to say Bryce had 7, and I might be wrong, but he's had several. He's had 140 cuts, and I don't know how many cuts Marla's had, but Marla's had 3 number ones, and so those are, and Stephanie Davis. I don't know if you know Stephanie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about Stephanie.
Yeah, we did yesterday.
Stephanie has performed at the Cowboy Poetry Deal.
Yeah.
She's a Montana girl originally, and she got up there in Livingston and told the story about everybody has that one Nashville sucks, I hate Nashville song, right? That they write as they leave Nashville. And she said,
I'm out of here.
and then that one song that you weren't sure was going to happen, Wolves, comes through. Garth Brooks cuts it. Mm-hmm. It buys her a ranch in Montana. You know, I mean, it's just amazing what it's done for her career.
Yeah,
Garth cut 7 of her songs.
Dang.
Now, and I don't know, you know, how if he. I'm not even sure if Stephanie had any number ones, but she had lots of cuts and lots of charting songs. But nonetheless, she's made a living. Right.
Yeah.
It's been very successful for her. So, and she talked about living in a cardboard hut in Nashville, you know, with the roof leaking and waking up with snowflakes on her blankets in her bedroom, and how tough it is. And so those are the stories we love to hear.
Yeah.
Because it's what builds character, and it's what gives you the fire to write that song that makes you successful. Your tours of the world will be an instrumental part in your success.
They're kind of baked into all the songs that I write. Just my experiences and my observations, and
and I think I mean, you know, I am an old man, but not.
I'm not. I'm fully aware I'm not yet.
But I think we can be friends because I'm old and you like old people. So
I do like old people.
But I've had a very interesting life. I've lived all over and done a lot of cool things. So, but the podcast has been fun. But I'm thankful that your wife has given you that support, and you know, that's what
I've always kind of been a lone wolf in a lot of ways. That's an interesting way to phrase that. But all my kind of mentors and stuff are all kind of single old men, bachelors, and just guys that did their own thing. And that's how I've always, everywhere I went by myself. I work alone, whether it's construction, music. It's new to kind of a band. And my wife's kind of the first person that's come along that I've been like, you can team up with me. This is great. Prior to that, it's always been like, I'm my own person doing my own thing. Well, and it's interesting because that you say that, because in the conversation with Dave Stamey, we talked about the writing process, and Dave is like, it's very personal to Dave. I don't know if that's that way for you. Very much.
You're not a collaborator.
Not that I don't like to collaborate, because I love working with other musicians, but when I'm writing my own stuff, it's like I've got all these things in here that the whole point of writing is to spew them out. To get the thoughts and opinions and observations. It's all coming from what I've kind of internalized. If I don't get it out of me, I'm going to explode. And so when I love sitting down with other musicians and hearing their stories, and I can absolutely jump in and be like, I'll collaborate with you, but when I'm like writing the stuff that you hear on Spotify and whatnot, it's very much me having spent a lot of hours by myself cooking up these ideas and shooting them out into the world.
Well, I listened this morning. Like I said, I haven't had a lot of time to really delve into it. And this is a challenge for us because we meet so much
music.
We meet so much. We meet so many artists, and then we get interested and we get connected. And I mean, on this trip down, we listened to everybody we were going to interview, and we refreshed our memories of Dave Stamey, because we've been Stamey fans a long time, and listened to most all of his music, but listened to his new album, and then we listened to Michael Martin Murphey. We listened to Wiley, and we listened to Kristen. We listened to all of them. Right? Brent,
I made myself a playlist.
And I do that. Like when I go somewhere,
just like, all right, I'm going to learn all these. But then you want to listen to your old stuff too, your favorites, and it's like, I keep discovering this new stuff, but I also want to listen to this old stuff, and there's just not enough hours in a day.
And it's a challenge for us because this is essentially our life, and has been for the last 6 months. But what I wanted to comment on, a couple of things. One, the first one that I really listened to was the Handful, Driving Angry. I liked that song. I thought it was interesting. You got a handful of rocks.
You know, sometimes you've had those days, right? You're just peeved, just angry. Everything around you is, and so that song is very quickly becoming everybody's favorite, just because it really apparently appeals to those few times when, like, most of the time you're like, I can slough this off my shoulder. I can let it go. And then sometimes you're just like, I'm going to freaking strangle somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I wrote that coming home from a gig in Bozeman and having gone to college in Bozeman.
Yeah.
Boy, that town has changed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I just had too many interactions that day with people that were rude and just up in your business, and it's puking snow and it's bumper to bumper, and I'm just pissed off, and I just turned my voice recorder on and just started ranting. And then when we get in the studio to cut the song, I was trying to put a guitar solo in there, and I just couldn't get it right. And so the producer, Jake, just turns on the mic and he goes, just tell me what you really think. And I just light into it, and he ended up putting a guitar solo over it. But my bandmates, my wife, all my friends, they're all like, oh, that song is cathartic.
Yeah, it is. It very cathartic. Yeah. So the other one that I really liked is Chopping Wood. Now that's very to me, that was very Dylan-esque. I get a real Dylan vibe out of that.
I'll take that compliment any day.
I'm serious. I really like it, and we have you seen the new movie?
I have not yet. No,
great movie. Yeah,
Amazing.
It's on my to watch list, but
They've been nominated for 8 Academy Awards.
I believe that.
And he did such a good job of inhabiting doing Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd watch him and his mannerisms and everything, and you're just going,
yeah. Really cool movie. But your sound, you have a little of that Dylan sound and a little of that Dylan folk vibe to that song.
Yeah, that song is super personal in that, like, it's probably my favorite song I've ever written, and it's a tribute to when I introduce this song when I'm playing it live, I'm like, you guys know those people that just spew their opinions into the world constantly, and you're just like, just shut up. And I'm like, this is a song about the opposite kind of person, the kind of person that is just quiet, and they're actually the smartest person in the room, and they keep their mouth shut, and they just put out these little bits of wisdom, and they're just content with life no matter how little they have. And so I have one person like that who's really special to me, and I wrote that song about him. And when I did, it's one of those songs where you put it out in the world, and even though I changed a bunch of details, everybody knew exactly who I was talking about. And that song has been definitely it's my favorite to play, but it's one that it appears to everybody seems to know a person like that, and that's the one I get the most feedback on.
Well, I really enjoyed that, and so I'm glad that I had a little bit of time once we got the office set up, because we're still trying to unpack and get stuff from Elko and unwind, and so I had, and you texted me and said I didn't account for the extra hour, which
forgot
we never
the time
do,
change.
But that's
I would have been dead on. I walked up at 11 o'clock. I said I'd be here at 10, but there was an hour time loss.
No big deal, but it gave me a little bit more time to prepare and to do a little study, and I appreciate that. But no, this has been fun, and we appreciate you reaching out.
Absolutely.
And we try, and we're right there, close to almost 40 minutes. But
I can talk.
Well, I could talk. I could talk for hours, and you've been.
It's just whether or not people want to listen to.
You're easy.
You're
easy to talk to, and it's enjoyable, and it's fun to hear those stories. And we'll look forward to sitting down again and sharing some more stories. Look forward to meeting your wife. Did you apply for the songwriter deal?
I have applied going on 4 years in a row, and
for Livingston and
for all of them.
Red Lodge,
and I will never speak ill of any organization. They've got a ton of songwriters. They're doing a great job. Well, my number has yet to be called on anything that I've ever applied for.
They accept 100 applications. I know Mike kind of shared a little bit of that with me.
Yeah,
we get the honor of interviewing the winner this year. So I'm looking forward to that. But I think you're extremely talented. Don't give up.
I'm not giving up. No, I'm not giving up at all. I take each rejection letter as a little piece of motivation.
Yeah.
So
well, don't we all?
Yeah.
We all? So, well, before we go, I'm going to have you put your coffee mug down there for a minute. Grab that guitar, that Teton guitar. Those guys have been so gracious to work with us. We can pull that microphone.
I'll just roll the mic
right it back. Roll it back. Is he still in frame, dear? We have a problem with that sometimes. We
can cut my head off.
We interviewed a songwriter named Jess Jacoy. Have you met Jess?
I know who she is. I've listened to her stuff.
Beautiful girl and adorable. And I interviewed her at Willie's Distillery in Ennis.
Yeah.
And we had a great interview. And no producer, Miss Shanda wasn't available to be there with me. And I had one of the guys at Willie's kind of watching the camera, make sure everything's still running. He'd walk by every once in a while. We get to the end, and I have her do the guitar, and she ends up out of frame. I mean, we get like half her face, and because she bumped the microphone, she goes, and so she slides back. So she slides. Well, I don't even think about it, right? So
it's all right.
So anyway,
it's all right. You can use from like here down.
There you go.
Right? And,
there you go. So set this up. What are you going to play for us?
Oh, I figure we were talking about chopping wood. I might as well dig into that.
Yeah, Miss Shanda hasn't had a chance to hear it. So
all right, yeah. So this is for all of our good neighbors out there, because nothing like a good neighbor. Got me a friend on the mountain, a man that the world disregards. When most folks his age spend their winters in Phoenix and counting cars instead of stars. We sit on the porch drinking coffee and talking about the weather and such. Sometimes he might share some old stories. Most times we never say too much. He says too much has been said in that tea bag wisdom. It's a dime for a dozen these days. And everybody's got a plaque made in Thailand saying live, laugh, and love anyway. But my friend, he doesn't buy all that bullshit. Doesn't care if he's misunderstood. Weekdays he's waist deep in the water. Weekends he's out chopping wood. He's got him an old orange tractor and a trailer that's more rust than steel. He chucks one load a week into that old antique, and he stops at the inn for a meal. Well, I know he's had hard times aplenty, and I bet you he'd probably change if he could. He says life is like a box of chocolates, but I don't like chocolate, so that don't do me no good. He says too much has been said in that tea bag wisdom. It's a dime for a dozen these days. And everybody's got a plaque made in Indonesia saying live, laugh, and love anyway. But my friend, he doesn't buy all that bullshit. Doesn't care if he's misunderstood. Weekdays he's waist deep in the water. Weekends he's out chopping wood. Yeah. Well, I got me a friend on the mountain, and not long from now he'll be gone. I'll probably forego the funeral and walk to the woodpile and pick up his splitting maul. Well, I got me a friend on the mountain.
Wow.
Yeah, all right.
I love that. That is such a cool
guys.
song.
Thanks for letting me play my music.
Oh, thank you for doing it. All right, put your John Hancock on that guitar.
Well, all right.
Or your Old Man Ben on there somewhere.
Old Man Ben, yeah.
Yeah. We've about got that one filled up. We're going to have to...
Yeah.
Teton's going to have to rear back and give us another guitar.
Right there, and smack dab in the middle.
That's perfect. Well, man, thanks for taking the time to stop.
Thanks for taking the
on your way home.
Taking time out of your Sunday to...
Oh, we're good. We're good. We're just kind of laying around, being lazy, doing not much.
Nice.
just enjoying.
Well, you guys are almost exactly halfway between Elko and Peaburg. So,
really?
Yeah.
Okay,
so I got a cup of coffee. Now I'm ready for my drive back home.
Well, good. Well, once again, Ben, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been a privilege. Hey, for Musical Miles Podcast, I'm your host, Byron Duff, and here with Ben, old man Ben Larson from Philipsburg, Montana. But we will see you somewhere down the road. Adios for now. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, guys. That's a good time.